Today I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about the career of Anne Marie Martin, who's been in everything from slasher flicks to sci-fi flops, and even a cult classic television show that's quite fondly remembered. Well, at least by one self-proclaimed pop culture historian named Dave Sundstrom. And yes, I know that Anne Marie wasn't in Twister, but she did have something to do with that movie. More on that in a bit. I'll also do some sleuthing and try to figure out what Anne Marie has been up to lately. So we've got a lot to do here. Let's stop dilly-dallying and get rolling. Anne Marie was born Edmunda Benton in Toronto, Ontario. Yep, the Great White North, on November 11th, 1957. I couldn't find any pictures of Anne Marie's early years, so we'll just go with this one of a couple of Canadian hoseheads checking in on a bunch of newborn babies. One of these could have been Anne Marie, right? Anne Marie started her journey in the arts not on the silver screen but on the stage. Way back then she was known as Eddie Benton. Yes, Eddie. And under that name she began carving out a niche on stage before moving to Hollywood so that she could focus on getting her big break into television and film. Anne Marie's early career was a mix of almosts and what ifs. She auditioned for Princess Leia in Star Wars. Imagine that alternate universe. But instead she landed roles in some fascinating, if not always successful projects. An early one that comes to mind is the Doctor Strange television movie where she starred as Clea Lake. Let's be honest, this movie was no Avengers Endgame, but hey, it paid roughly $2,000 a week, which in 1978 was enough to buy like a small island, right? Then came Prom Night in 1980, where she played Wendy, one of the teens being stalked by a killer. It's a slasher classic, and Anne Marie's performance helped cement her as a scream queen.
Everyone in the senior class has a date for prom night. But someone has come to the prom alone. Someone who watches in the empty corridors. Someone who follows, silent and unseen. Someone who waits until no one can help. Prom night. If you're not back by midnight, you won't be coming home. Rated R.
She followed up Prom Night with The Boogans in 1981, a creature feature about underground monsters wreaking havoc. And let's not forget her uncredited cameo in Halloween 2, because what's a horror career without a little Michael Myers, right? Anne Marie wasn't just a horror queen, though. She was a TV staple. I remember guest starring gigs on shows like Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, where she played a character with psychokinetic powers. And then a really touching episode of T.J. Hooker, where her character faced an amputation after a brutal injury. She played a rookie cop with really bad luck. And of course, those weren't her only TV appearances. I also remember her in Wonder Woman and The Streets of San Francisco. But her big break came in 1982 when she joined the cast of Days of Our Lives as attorney Gwen Davies. Soap opera fans loved her, and it set the stage for her most iconic role, the one that we will always remember her for.
Here it is, her most iconic role.
Sergeant Dori Doreau in Sledge Hammer. For those who haven't seen it, Sledge Hammer was a parody of cop shows, and Anne Marie's character was the perfect foil to David Rash's over-the-top title character. The show only lasted a couple of seasons, but it's a cult classic, and Anne Marie's performance is a big reason why.
Friday.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to remove the bullet.
He's one sharp cop, Sledge Hammer. Then, bad guys beware.
You weren't on duty last night.
But you sure were.
Sidekicks after Sledge Hammer.
Tomorrow.
Off-screen, Anne Marie's life was getting pretty darn interesting. In 1987, she married author Michael Crichton. Yes, the Jurassic Park guy. And the two even collaborated on the screenplay for Twister in 1996. You see, I told you I'd get there. It just took a little time. You know, I've got to say, the follow-up movie Twisters is a really fun movie. I know she didn't have anything to do with it, but it's worth mentioning. If you didn't see it when it was originally released, and based on box office results, I'd say a lot of you didn't, you should really check it out. It is great. After Sledge Hammer ended, Anne Marie stepped away from acting to focus on family, and her love of horses. She became a competitive equestrian, even riding for Team USA in the World Championship for Icelandic horses. These days, Anne-Marie lives a relatively private life, concentrating on her equestrian activities. There are conflicting reports about her current location, with one source stating that she had moved to the Hudson Valley in New York, and another suggesting that she resides in Toronto. Or she might even be in Idaho, as her Instagram page seems to suggest. Not a lot going on over there on Instagram, but there are a handful of nice photos, most of them of horses. Makes sense. Sadly, there are no pictures of my favorite rock and roll bassist, the legendary Gene Simmons. So let me see if I can rectify that. Here we go. Oh yeah, and that's Anne-Marie right there with Gene in the 1984 movie Runaway, which I believe was directed by Michael Crichton. I wonder. Maybe that's where she met him. And now for something only semi-related.
Wednesday, September 6th, reach into the unknown with Dr. Strange.
You believe in evil?
You're telling me you're a sorcerer?
Don't defy me, Stephen, or I'll take my pleasure from you in another way.
John Mills is the power of good. Jessica Walter is the power of evil, and mankind's fate hangs in the balance. Peter Hooton stars as the man in the middle, Dr. Strange. Will the forces of evil conquer the forces of good on Earth? Dr. Strange, a special 2-hour presentation, Wednesday, September 6th at 8/7 Central and Mountain.
You are special.
You didn't have to do it, but you did. So thank you very much for your support, for your support, for your support. Thank you very much.
Click on that thumbnail, cause it's time to go. Dave's got the classics, let the memories flow. TV shows and movies that we all hold so dear. On his YouTube channel, he's keeping memories near. Dave Sundstrom, bringing back the good stuff, oh yeah.